Hello everyone, I'm George. Today, let's talk about how to start a conversation. Okay, I'm still in Japan right now, and you know when you're in a strange place or a foreign country, you want to know a person. You have to start with a conversation. So exactly how do you do that? In this channel, we have already talked about how to end a conversation if you really want to get away. If you want to know more about this, you can check the video here. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to start a conversation either with a stranger or maybe a coworker you've always wanted to talk to. And today, we're going to cover 4 methods that you can use to talk to people. In each method, we will give you 2 example sentences. Maybe it's going to be very useful the next time when you want to meet a new person. And here we go. Method number 1. Give compliments. People like to hear something nice about themselves, and therefore, it's a very good way for you to start a conversation with someone. When that person is happy, the conversation can keep going. Let's just take a look at the 2 example sentences. Number 1. That's a really nice shirt. Where did you get it? That's a really nice shirt. Where did you get it? When you see someone very early in the morning or for the first time in the day, you try to notice something new or something fancy on that person and you point it out, especially when you say, "Where did you get it?" You're inviting more information into the conversation. So that person will start talking about where he or she gets it, and then you keep talking. And example number 2. You did well back there. You must have invested a lot of time. You did well back there. You must have invested a lot of time. Usually after a meeting or after a speech, you go to that person you really want to talk to, and then you compliment about their performance on stage. Not only that, you're asking about the secrets. If that person is a very nice person, he or she will share how they prepared. Of course, the purpose is for the conversation to keep going, and your job is done. Just remember, in this group, when you are giving compliments, be sincere. You cannot go too far. If you do, it'll sound really fake.
Hey, Mr. Phillips, nice suit.
Oh, right there, that was so fake.
And let's move on to method number 2. Ask for opinions. People like their opinions being valued. We all have the desire to be respected. And that is why when you are asking for opinions, most nice people would appreciate a lot, which means this conversation can keep going in a very positive way. And let's just take a look at the 2 example sentences here. Number 1. I'm not sure about this. What do you think? I'm not sure about this. What do you think? You are looking at something, maybe reading a book or reading the proceedings of the meeting or people's report. You find something that is confusing, then you point out the problem and you go to that person, ask the question, ask for opinions. For most nice people, they would try to explain things for you. And then you go to method number 1, give a little bit of compliments, then you're talking, you're having a conversation. And let's take a look at example sentence number 2. I don't know where to go this weekend. Any suggestions? I don't know where to go this weekend. Any suggestions? If you notice that person you want to talk to likes to travel, then it's a very good conversation piece. You go to that person, you start talking about your plan for your vacation. Maybe he or she has some very good ideas. While you're doing that, you can talk about your last vacation, you can share your future vacation plans, and then you are having a very pleasant conversation. Remember, a conversation is a 2-way street. Don't just listen. Don't just ask questions. Sometimes you have to share a little bit. And let's move on to method number 3. Find a common ground. If you find someone you want to know about, you might have already observed a little bit. Not in a creepy way. Don't be a stalker. You would go to that person, ask about the interest that you share with each other. You might start a conversation. Let's take a look at example sentence number 1. Did you watch the ball game last night? Did you watch the ball game last night? If it is baseball season or basketball season, and you notice the person that you like to talk to also enjoys the ball game that you do, then why not? Start asking about the result or your favorite teams. Maybe you share the same passion in sports. This also goes with fashion or technology. Whatever you think the other person likes, you can go to that person and talk about it. And let's move on to example sentence number 2. Don't you think the manager is too harsh? Don't you think the manager is too harsh? Sometimes it's not something that you like. It's something that you don't like or someone you hate. You work in the same place, you don't like the manager, find the common enemy, start talking about that person. If you share the same opinion, then that conversation will go without any further help. But be careful, you have to be very sure about what you're talking about, or you might end up making some new enemies. And let's move on to method number 4. Would you rather? This is actually very common in America when you ask people some controversial questions or some opinion questions. You say, would you rather do this or that? You make the other person make a choice and you find out what he or she likes. Sometimes the question could be very tricky or very interesting. Let's just take a look at the 2 example questions. Number 1. Would you rather be the worst person on a great team or the best person on a bad team? Would you rather be the worst person on a great team or the best person on a bad team? This is the kind of question that asks about personal preferences. There's no right or wrong answers. The fun part is you will know more about the person. Why not answer the question right now? If you have an answer, put some comments down below. And question number 2. Would you rather have no one show up to your wedding or your funeral? Would you rather have no one show up to your wedding or your funeral? This is a more serious question. Remember, you have to make sure the person does not get offended because you're asking about the funeral. Again, this kind of question has no correct answers. What you need to do is pick one and talk about the reason. If that person is too shy for this kind of question, you might want to try to induce a little bit of interest. Through the process, you will have the conversation. Remember, when you're asking this kind of questions, don't just ask yes/no questions. And that is why this would rather question would work a lot. Because in addition to choosing one of the answers, you also have to explain why. And during the explanation, you will have the conversation that you want. So these are the 4 methods that I introduced today that you can use to start a conversation with someone. Do you have any problem talking to someone? Share your comments below. Let me know. If you like this video, make sure you click the like button or you can subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time. Bye!